interested in being in a John Wick film. My version was more like Zantuichi, you blind, stumbling masseuse guy that kind of got, you know, and after my first creative talk with Donnie, it was like, oh, I don't want to play him like that, I want to be way cooler.
When I'm back home, when I'm with my most comfortable environment with my colleagues, Asian filmmakers, right? They don't understand me as much as Chad does. And that's a compliment to him, and I told him that. I said, you know, it's very interesting that you understand where I'm coming from. And I understand where he's coming from.
He wanted to be inspiring, he wanted to be positive, he didn't want to be the stereotypical blind swordsman as it's been played in the past.
Actually, I was kind of against that in the beginning. And he said, oh, he's blind. That was before I went to Berlin, right? I said, I've done that in Rogue One, in Star Wars, right? I played the blind man before, you know? Do you really want to go there? How am I going to react, right? How am I going to bring what I wanted to achieve, that full, complex character? It's challenging. I'm still finding some moments.
And Donnie came at it very hard. Like, look, man, for myself, I got to do something different. I want to add, like, I want to go to the extremes in this. Like, I can play it like this tripping blind guy, or I can just be assumed that I'm so good that I have to do that. I'm like, okay, let's start with that. Let's start with, we're not going to do the traditional blind guys. We're not going to do the tappy, all this stuff. Yeah. Then you're like, do a little, you can do your hearing thing, and then it's like, should have stayed out, try to find it.
This is John Wick. We need to create John Wick work, and he has to be a very skilled martial artist assassin. He sent me some pictures. What do you think? How does he picture this Kane? And I told him, well, I see him stylish. Steve McQueen, Bruce Lee. And I said, remember Bruce Lee during the black and white interview with the skinny tie and the black suit and everything?
Just give you a little Bruce Lee-ish here, a little Enter the Dragon.
I met Chad Stahelski when I was training for The Matrix, and they were looking for stunt doubles.
I stumbled upon jackpot with The Matrix because I became Keanureeves' stunt double. To have somebody that put that much of himself in it was unheard of. And to see how much he cared. How could you possibly go to work every day with this guy if you gave even this much less than he did? The challenge was to give this much more than he did, which was not easy.
Chad went on to do second unit work, second unit directing, action design, started his own company, then co-directed John Wick. And so that's really where it shifted to Chad as a director, a producer, and working on the John Wick stories and what they would be.
What I've seen from Chad over the years is that he's evolved from, oh wow, that's the ex-stunt double of Keanureeves from The Matrix, to the best action director in Hollywood in the last 15, 20 years.
Well done. Well done. Chad and Keanu have known each other forever, and that deep trust and bond that they have with each other has been there since day one. It's why Chad is here directing John Wick 4. I think there's very few franchises that have the consistency that we have with this core team of director, star.
Chad has directed Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and now Chapter 4. His take on action and the way that action and drama and story have to kind of go hand in hand is my taste.
Keanu loves this franchise so much. I mean, he's in every script meeting. He's part of the casting discussions. He has come up with a lot of the best story ideas.
Here's Killer coming. Oh.
I love working with Keanureeves. I think he's one of the best creative, collaborative partners I could have ever wanted, let alone imagined.
In John Wick 4, we get to play with so many different tools.
The one thing that Chad had in his head, he had nunchucks. But it couldn't just be nunchucks. It had to be nunchucks, but how do you use that with a pistol?
We had a solid 6 months of him learning how to train with nunchucks, but a lot of times it was also mixed in with the judo and jiu-jitsu, so he's doing nunchucks and gun at the same time, mixing it with jiu-jitsu at the same time. It was definitely a learning curve because it's like, how do you put enough nunchucks to make everybody interested and excited, but not too much where it becomes another nunchuck sequence?
Jeremy broke down the Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon with the nunchuck sequence. So that was my warm-up sequence.
Instead of making it a scene about nunchucks, it became another set of his platform. So part of his platform is having his handgun and reloading with the handgun. Well, in between reloads, when he's out of bullets, he can use this hand to hit with the nunchucks. And we just kind of made it second nature to where every time he put his nunchucks around his neck,